Hello and welcome to my first Blender tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a bow just like this. Now when you're starting off, it's really important to have a reference image of the object you're going to make in Blender. So I got this image from Google. Now as we start off in Blender, we have this default cube. You can look at the clicks and the keys that I'm pressing on my keyboard on the bottom right of my screen. First of all, we will import the reference image into Blender. To do that, we will right-click, click on Images, and then hit Reference. The link of this image will be in the description below. Now, you can place this image anywhere inside your project. The purpose here is to get a rough idea of the bow. We are not making this exact same bow. So for me personally, I'm going to have this image on my second monitor. So I'm just going to move this image on this side. Starting off, we're going to make the base or the center of the bow. So I have this cube and I want to make this look like the base of the bow. To edit this cube, we have to go into edit mode. Right now we're in object mode. To go into edit mode, we hit tab. From there on, we select face select. Now I'm only going to be focusing on the left side of the bow. We're going to leave the right side as it is. Now I will select this face, and while in edit mode, I will extrude this face by hitting E or this icon. I'm going to extrude this face by clicking and dragging the plus icon along the y-axis. You have to adjust this according to your own needs. I think this much is good enough. Let's make this wedge now after making that square. So we go back into edit mode, and from there on we select vertex select instead of face select. Now we select these two vertices and hit G, a shortcut for transform, and move them along the x-axis by hitting X, then moving the mouse. I think this much is good enough. From here on, we can complete the rest of the bow by performing the combination of two processes, that is extrusion and transform. Here I am in face select mode and I am extruding the bow. Now you simply have to play around and find the best possible extrusion length for your bow. Along with extrusion, I'm also transforming by hitting G. You have to use the combination of these two processes to complete the rest of your bow. The shortcut for extrude and transform is E and G respectively. Also keep in mind, I'm in face select mode while I'm extruding and transforming this. Let's now try to make the tip or the end of the bow. As you can see, the end of the bow is sharp. It's not flat. So to fix that, we go into vertex select mode and select all these four vertices. And we hit S for scale and scale them inwards by dragging the mouse down. We are pretty much done with the left side of the bow, except a few curves that we can add in the bow shape. But let's leave that for later. Now for the right side of the bow, we have a very amazing modifier that Blender provides us. To get that, we go into the modifier tab by hitting this wrench icon, click on add modifier and hit mirror modifier. What that does, that it spawns in an exact same mirrored object we just made on the left side. But at this moment, it's facing the wrong direction. To fix that, instead of having the axis on X, we shift it to Y. And now you can see the bow is in proper shape and form. We can further go ahead and apply another modifier known as subdivision surface modifier to give it a more smooth look. As you can see here, we have a little problem. The edge of the bow is not very sharp and flat. Now to fix that, we go into edit mode and we click on loop cuts. Now loop cuts will be adding more holding edges. So we click and apply the loop cut and drag it down towards the edge. This makes the edge look much better now. We can further go ahead and make the bow much more smoother by right clicking and hitting shade smooth. Now the bow looks much more smoother, but there are few more problems. As you can see, there are some uneven surfaces along the whole bow. Now to fix that, we apply loop cuts like before and drag them down towards the edges, adding more holding edges, making the surface look much more smoother and even. You can apply loop cuts in areas where you find your bow to be uneven. Now let's make the string of the bow now. It's always recommended that you choose an object that looks most alike to the object you're going to make. So that is why I'm choosing a cylinder. Now we simply adjust the height and the width of the cylinder to match that of a string of a bow. To do that, we click on this orange icon and adjust the height and the width of the bow till it matches our needs. The bow is done now. Now we're going to shade the bow. But before we shade the bow, we're going to do one more thing. As we have extruded and transformed our bow, we have destroyed our UVs. To fix that, we go into Material tab, hit New, click on Base Color and this yellow icon, and then click on Image Texture. Now we're going to import a file by clicking on Open. Link to this file will be in the description below. UVs are basically a 2D version of our 3D object. We have applied this texture on our object. To make this visible, go in solid mode, click on this arrow and click on textures. Now you can see the UVs. As you can see, the UVs are completely destroyed. This is what a destroyed UVs look like. The reason for this, as I explained earlier, is because we extruded and transformed our object. Now to fix that, we go into UV tab. I'll hit A on my keyboard and select all the vertices, then click on the drop down menu and click on textures to make the UVs visible again. While staying in the UV tab, I'll click on UVs, then Smart UV Project, and then I will hit OK. Now our UVs look much better. The basic idea is to make these squares as equal as possible. We are not looking for perfection here, so this much is enough. For shading, we will go into Shading tab and then we will remove the UV texture from our game object by clicking on the Material tab and hitting that minus button. Let's try and apply some textures on the bow now. Let's go in Edit mode and click on Face Select. You will shade the middle part of the bow first. So let's select all the faces and then go into Material tab by clicking this globe icon and click on New. This will create a new material for us. Let's import an image texture by right-clicking or Shift-A, then going to Textures and clicking on Image Textures. Let's connect this color dot with the base color dot. After doing that, we'll import an image texture. The link to this image texture will be in the description below. We'll adjust some of these values such as metallic, roughness. You can adjust these values according to your own needs. Just play around with them and find the best suited value. The texture got applied to the whole bow. We only wanted to texture the middle part, but let's fix that later on. Our bow is looking very straight, so let's add some more curves by going back into Edit mode and clicking on Vertex Select. I'm doing the exact same thing like we did before. I'm selecting two vertices, then transforming them by hitting G. Basically what I'm trying to do is trying to form a nice curve so our bow would actually look like a bow. Now I have made this new gold colored material that I'm going to apply on some part of the bow. You can copy my exact same values or you can make your own. That is all up to you. Now let's apply this material on part of the bow. Let's go to Face Select while in Edit mode and then select some of the faces just like this and click on the material and assign it. Now again we're going to adjust these values, make this look more metallic or rough. That's all up to you, how you want your bow to look like. You can copy the exact same version of my bow or you can make your own. Let's add some roughness to this bow. While in Shading tab, right click, go to Textures and then Image Texture and import a file that will be in the description below. This will add a rough look to our material. We will connect the color dot with the roughness. Let's adjust the metallic and the specular values. Let's try and create a new texture for the end or the tip of the bow. To start off, we will go to edit mode and click on face select and select the faces we want to texture. We'll click and select both the faces and click on the material tab and click new to add a new material. To add some glow to our material, while in shading tab, we will right click, go to color, then click on hue saturation. We will also add mix RGB by right clicking while in shading tab, go to color and then click on mix RGB. We will change the mix option to multiply. I will also shift the factor from 0.5 to 1. Also, I will click on render properties and check the bloom option. Now let me tell you about mix RGB and hue saturation. Mix RGB mixes corresponding pixels of two input images, whereas hue saturation controls the amount of influence the node exerts on the output image. Right now, I'm just adjusting the amount of glow that I want on my material. I'll select the two faces, click on the material tab, select the material, and then hit assign. As you can see, the material is now assigned. The material is white right now because we have connected an image texture and there is no image selected. So what we'll do is simply just cut it off by holding left control and the right mouse button. This will disconnect the connection and now you can see our material is now glowing. We will increase the value to have more glow to our material. There's a bit of problem here though. As you can see, the glow is not fully applied to the end of the bow. So what we'll do, we'll go into edit mode by hitting tab. After that, we'll select loop cuts and we'll apply the loop cut method we did before by applying it and moving it on towards the edges. Now the glow looks much better and it completely fills the end of the bow. Let's just decrease the amount of glow. Now that's all up to you. You can have this same amount of glow if you want. I had fully applied the mirror modifier, so the right side of my bow didn't get updated when I was fixing the left side. So let's go ahead and fix that right now. Let's go ahead and apply the texture to the rest of the bow. I'll do the same procedure, go into edit mode, select the faces, go into material tabs and select the material and click on assign. You can adjust the value of the glow to whatever you want. The bow is done now, so let's go ahead and finish this thread. I will select the string, go to edit mode, click on loop cuts, then I will add two loop cuts, one over here and one on this side. After doing that, I'll go back to face select mode, select all these faces that I have just made and apply textures to them. I will click on the material tab, click on new and then make a red colored material for the middle part of my string and assign it to it. Then I will select the rest of the string and apply a new gold colored material to it. Simply adjust the values to whatever you want.